Go.
Alright, this is my informative speech. This outline, or this computer has my outline on it. So my audience is three young men about the age of 20. They're fundamental Christians, and two of them are trained to be missionaries in a similar program as me. So my name is Chris Clogue, and I'm going to get started. So according to the equestrianchannel.com, 4.6 million people are involved each year in some way in equestrian care. This is a massive field in our country. I've worked in Christian camping for 5 years, and I want to talk about specifically how equestrian management can be used within the context of Christian camping, particularly when it comes to spreading the gospel and showing others God's love. So 3 of my 5 years in Christian camping have been with horses. It is something I have a lot of experience with, something I'm very excited to talk about. So my idea, my core thesis is to show how equine management can be used to spread the gospel and show God's love, specifically within the setting of Christian camping. To demonstrate this, we'll first look at how horses can be used to show God's love, how they can be used to spread the gospel, and finally, how horses can be used to enhance a Christian camping experience. So, now let's look at how horses can be used to show God's love. So according to the British Horse Society, in 2010, about 8% of riders considered themselves to be disabled in some way. And that's just in England alone. Disabled riders, horses can be a huge way to reach them, to show them compassion, to show them God's love, and to show them a world they potentially do not have a way to experience otherwise. They can be very dependent on things, but when they experience a good controlled horsemanship program, they can just get a feeling of self-confidence and self-reliance. Horses can be a great way to reach children. This is my own area of expertise. Just from my own life, the 3 years I worked with horses were all within the context of a Christian camp that was designed for kids. The chief highlight of which for many was the horsemanship program. The horses, we gave each kid an opportunity once a week to ride horses, and we had weekly rodeos for the entire camp. It was awesome, and just the kids loved it. We had kids tell us just about every year that, like, I want to be like you when I grow up. It was an excellent way to reach the kids with God's love within the Christian camping experience. So my second point is how horses can be an incredible way to share the gospel. I have 2 just personal examples from my life to demonstrate this. One is a little bit close to home. It hurts a little bit. It was a very good friend of mine who was seriously injured in a horse riding accident, quite unexpectedly. But through that, and through the weekly rodeos I mentioned before, he has literally been able to share his testimony with hundreds of people. Hundreds of people have heard the gospel because of his work with horses and because of our weekly rodeos when they come out to see them. Another of my very good friends has devised an entire message using his work with horses as the central illustration of God's awesome love for us. He's been able to work with horses. He'll take an entire team of people out to do ministry, and he will teach classes for 8 weeks. And then, like the last week, he will give the gospel. Those are just 2 examples of how horses can be used to share the gospel. And finally, I want to look at how horses can be used to enhance an overall Christian camps program. So, according to the Equestrian Channel, horse industry has a direct economic income in the U.S. of $39 billion. At least from a financial standpoint, it is potentially possible for a good horse program to really be a stable financial part of a camp if it is done right. According to the American Camp Association, 38% of camps offer horsemanship programs. In my opinion, that kind of gives you a little bit of a corner on the competition. Horse programs can be an excellent promotional tool of the camp, where some families, when they consider Christian camp, they would not readily send their kids there. But when they see the horse program, particularly if it is a good, reputable horse program, they are willing to send their kids to that and thereby send them to the camp. So just in conclusion, first we looked at how horses could be used to show God's love, particularly in regards to working with disabled folks and children. Next we looked at specifically how horses could be used to share the gospel. And finally, we looked at how they could enhance your overall camp program. So I just want to encourage each of you, particularly you guys as you're out in the field as Word of Life missionaries, to remember the Good Horse program at the Word of Life Ranch. It can be a great program to reach kids, to share the gospel, and it can be a great promotional tool to encourage families to come experience camping at Word of Life for the first time.